Hi there, welcome to QA Box Let's Test. If you have not already subscribed to this channel, kindly do so, and if you like the video, give them the thumbs up.
Alright, so in this video we are going to talk about factory function and function constructor. Okay, so I have created this basic HTML page and a JavaScript file which I'm referring to here, and this site is running live using the live server extension available with Visual Studio Code. So this is a person object being created using object literal syntax. We have already covered that in our video on object. Okay, so this object has got three members. Two members are property and third member is a method. Okay, so if you want to create one more person record, so you will say person 2, and then you are going to say name is equal to Ajay and age is 29, and the method remains as it is. So if we could see that, we have already started duplicating the code. All right, so we are making copy of this function in each of this object. So an object can have a number of methods because a person could display multiple behaviors. For example, a person can run, a person can walk, a person can study, a person can write a program, and so many things, right? So if we follow this syntax, what we are doing is we are making duplicate code in our application, okay, or for testers in our framework, which is not a right practice. Tomorrow if you need to make a change to this function, we have to replicate that throughout our application. Okay, so anytime we have an object which displays multiple behavior, using object literal syntax is not the right choice. So we will go for using either the factory function or the constructor function theme. All right, so let me just take this out, and if I have to convert this object person1 to a function which will return us the object, all I have to do is I have to just copy this, okay, whole object, and say return, and return this object. Now instead of passing in this hard-coded values, we can pass these values using parameters. So all you have to do now is do this and replace the age with underscore age. Okay, and this run function is going to refer to these variables using this keyword. Okay, so let me save this, and now let's create a person 1 is equal to, we could say, person, and we are going to pass, let's say, Avi, and age is 9. So if I hit enter, a person p1 object is created, and if I do this, I get the object back. As you could see, the object is created. So I can use the properties on this using access operator, member access operator. Okay, or and we can also run the function using the member access operator if we do so. So it all works. Okay, so that's one way of creating objects using function. So this function is a factory since it generates those person records, providing you pass in the name and age. Okay. The other way we can create objects is using constructor function. And in this particular case, what we are going to do is we are going to say this dot name. Instead of using the return, we are going to use this dot name, and we are going to say underscore name this way. Same way we are going to say this dot age is equal to underscore age. Okay. And this dot run is a function, so we are going to say just copy this. Okay. So this is how we can create object using constructor function. And to generate object from this, we have to use the syntax like this. One more difference herein is the first letter of this function is an uppercase, right? So if you have worked into other programming languages, C sharp, Java, so this looks something like a class. The name of a class starts with an uppercase, and therein we also refer to this keyword. Okay. So to create an object, we are going to say let p2 is equal to, and now you are going to use a keyword new, and then you are going to say person, and you are going to pass in, let's say this time we say qa box, and the age is, the channel is just started, it's only like 2 months old, so we'll keep it still 0.5. Okay. So if you hit enter, uh, age is not defined, uncaught reference, age is not defined. So okay, so this is not minus age, this is hyphen age. And if I do this now, so the object is created and I can access it like this. Okay. So this is how we can create an object using constructor function. All right, so we have to understand few things in here. So when we use the new keyword, what happens behind the scene is the moment we create new an object like this is created in the memory, and with the help of this keyword it starts referring to this empty object, and these properties, these and this method, so all these three members would be added to this object behind the scene. Okay. So let's see if I what will happen if I don't pass in this new keyword, and let's log this console object. Okay. So if we do it like this, so you could see that what's being returned to us is a person object. So this refers to this class, and it has got the age, name, and run um, properties and methods. Okay. But if I don't use new, so see what would happen. And if I hit enter, so p2 is already defined, let me change it to p3. And if I do so, so this refers to windows, and we don't want to pollute the global object window, because once it's attached to the global object, it is accessible throughout our program, and one function may mistakenly update something into it, and that will cause side effect throughout our application. Okay. So make sure that we use new. Okay. Every time we create an object using constructor function. Okay, so one more thing before we move on. So let's see one of the property which is called as constructor. So let's see this property. When you do this, right, you could see that this is the constructor function that we have created. So the constructor property refers to the object that is being used to construct this object. Okay, and if we do something like p1, right, so p1 is something that I created using this. Okay, so if I say p1 dot constructor, okay, p1 is not defined, so let us define it again. We say let p1 is equal to person Aveen9, so it is created now, and we say p1 dot constructor. Okay, and this will return us what? A function and then this object. Okay, so when we use this particular syntax, what happens is this function is used and it looks very familiar. So let me first, so whenever we say let obj is equal to this, behind the scene our JavaScript compiler, right, the engine uses this syntax. Okay, same way what we used to do is, so this is your object literal syntax, but compiler internally converts it into this. Okay, same is for, we use new string, right, so that's how this is another syntax method, but instead of this we use what? We use string literals, we use single quotes, double quotes, and we use two backticks, right? Same is what with numbers. So there is new number, but instead of this we use number literals like 1, 2, 3, and so on. And there is one more boolean. So instead of writing like this, what do we use? We use boolean literals, true and false. But under the hood, these constructors are used to construct these objects. Okay, so that's about factory function, constructor function, and constructor property. Thank you so much.